The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN, 8:30 a.m., 60 minutes to go until the opening bell, and we got markets in negative territory to kick things off. You're looking at an S&Ps, the futures, negative 38 points. That's exactly 1% right now, trading at 38.04. Interesting action overnight. The slide begins at about 4:30 a.m. Eastern time. You had the S&Ps trading at 38.40. We come down to 37.90 almost. We basically come down right to the lows we had intraday on Monday. We've bounced a little bit from that price level. You're talking about a 15-point S&P bounce, currently sitting just above 3,800 at 38.04. NASDAQ 100, quite the acceleration as well. You see the spike last night having to do with Microsoft earnings. We'll pull up Microsoft in a moment. Microsoft had spiked as high as about 247 from about 232. We've backed off a bit, even with Microsoft still higher. I believe you have Apple even staying higher this morning as well. But you see the rollover in the NASDAQ 100. You're down 100 points right now at 13,384. That's with Microsoft crushing it last night. That's with Apple so far this morning. Let's check out Apple. And you're still positive on Apple. The market, nobody's selling Apple right now ahead of their earnings after the closing bell today. We also get Facebook after the closing bell, down marginally. You're talking about pennies, and we get Tesla today after the closing bell as well, holding up relatively well, all things considered. Tesla making an all-time high of Monday of $900.40. We're currently trading at about $870 in Tesla. Dow down about 300 points, touches 30,500. Again, all these markets kind of testing that Monday low right now with about 60 minutes to go until the opening bell. And how about the Russell? Talk about some volatility. You see the Russell well below Monday's low. The low in the Russell was about 2130. We were just almost 50 points below that level at 2,084. The Russell currently down 2.1% right now. Crude contract, all things considered, pretty calm with the market going a little haywire. You're trading at 52.52. Gold contract pulling back a bit off $10 at 18.43. We've got silver negative 40 cents right now, trading at 25.13. And we got to jump to notes and bonds right now. A little higher price and lower yield. You're looking at a yield right now of under 1.02%. To be exact, it's 1.019. We'll call it 1.02%, as the yields coming right back to that 1% area that so many of us maybe imagined would be a tough area of resistance in this market. You look at the acceleration we had following the Georgia elections. You saw the yields go from about 138.05. We trade down 2 full points to 136.01. And since then, we're up 1.5 points in the 10-year. We were approaching a 1.17% yield. Looked like we were on our way to 1.25%. Not so fast, as yields back to right at about 1% this morning. And we'll jump to the VIX as we're getting some negative action in the VIX. A little bit of upward action when you put this thing on a daily. Every time we get down to that $20 price point, this market gets a little worried. When we're sitting at all-time highs with the economic reality we are facing, you see the VIX spiking at 27.76 this morning. That is quite a spike in a big way. But when you have the S&Ps accelerating lower, and that is following, folks, some strong earnings on Microsoft last night. So Microsoft, will start it off. They trade to all-time highs yesterday coming into the earnings. They come out with the numbers last night. We'll jump over to those numbers in a moment. Strong numbers across the board. They beat on revenue by a few $1 billion almost. They beat on earnings. Cloud numbers through the roof. You accelerate from 232 to 247. You get a second pop during the earnings call up to above 244. We've given back $8 overnight. We're sitting less than $4 positive, folks. You're up 1.5% on Microsoft when, let's get into the numbers, they crush it. How about 17% revenue growth? Remarkable. And you're talking about revenue growth that's a staggering level already. The cloud business accelerates. That's what the market loves to hear, folks. $43.08 billion for revenue, almost $3 billion above the expectation, which was $40.18 billion. Earnings per share of more than $2 a share. Market was looking for $1.64. Microsoft revenue growing 17% on an annualized basis. With respect to guidance, they're looking for the third quarter, $40.35 billion to $41.25. The middle of the range, 40.8, implies 16.5% growth. Market was only looking for 38.7. In the fiscal second quarter, revenue from Microsoft's Intelligent Cloud business segment totaled $14.6 billion. That includes Azure Public Cloud, server products such as Windows Server, GitHub, and enterprise services. Revenue up 23% year over year and above the 13.7 that the market was looking for. Azure revenue grew 50%. Market was looking for 42%. It's just staggering across the board. Love this graphic that CNBC has here talking about, the growth of their products. And you see they break it down, whether it's Azure, Dynamic Products, Cloud Services, Enterprise Services, Office 365. I mean, the interesting one here, right? Azure was going through the roof when they were in 2019, just beginning things. 2020, it slowed a bit. 2021, you see the drop there, 47%, 48%. We're back above those levels. Dynamic Products and Cloud Services, yet again, 21%. That's the biggest number ever on this chart for Dynamic Products and Cloud Services. Just a remarkable number. We saw some decreases in ads for Microsoft during the pandemic. That number back in the positive. Windows back in the positive as well. And Xbox content and services with the new rollout of the Xbox Series X delivering in a big way. But as you see, folks, I mean, remarkable, right? Across the board, and the market loves it. But we're trading low. You get the NASDAQ 100 off 124 points so far this morning, and Microsoft up almost 1.5%. Not really the move you may expect, especially after the pop last night, and they deliver in a big way. It'd be interesting to see as we come into Apple earnings. Now Apple finally under where we were yesterday, but not many people selling Apple ahead of their earnings after the bell tonight. Be interesting to see where Apple trades. The all-time high for Apple made Monday near the opening bell of about 145.09. You see how dicey things got for Apple, though. When the market traded to an accelerated low, you saw Apple touch 136 almost. We were back above 142 by the end of the day. Apple's got their earnings after the bell tonight. All right, what else we have going on? So it is a huge week. I mean, we'll go over some of the equities that we have earnings. We got Boeing out this morning. We'll jump over to them. Boeing's down about $8 right now, or 4% pre-market, trading at 194. But what we also got today, so it's Fed Day. We got a Fed announcement at 2 o'clock. Press conference at 2:30, which is what the market will be looking for in terms of Chairman Powell. They'll be talking about how they plan to taper. Chairman Powell will be talking about that they don't plan to taper. He wants to make no headlines whatsoever today. Interesting that he'll be coming into his press conference with the market with a little negative action so far today. And what we also get is tomorrow, we get fourth quarter GDP for 2020. That'll be out at 8:30 in the morning. Market looking for, I think, about a 4.2% growth on fourth quarter GDP. So, man, when you think about what we're doing in terms of from 2:30 p.m. today till 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, you're going to get a press conference with the chairman of the Federal Reserve. You're going to get earnings from the biggest company in the world, Apple. You're going to get earnings from Tesla, Facebook, and then we get fourth quarter GDP along with some other companies mixed in there as well. All right, folks, stay tuned. We're going to take a look at GameStop up to 360 overnight, and the new one, AMC, up to 15. Watch out. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&P sitting right at 3,800 as we speak. You get the NASDAQ off 109 points. NASDAQ 100, that is 13,375. The Dow off 321, and that Russell off about 47 points right now at 2,100. Jumping over to Starbucks. Starbucks out with their numbers last night. Somewhat of a disappointment in the market as you're off a bit, off about $4 to about $102 so far this morning. Starbucks tops earnings, but they did not top revenue, and that's never a good indication, folks. The numbers, 61 cents versus 55 cents expected, but revenue they miss to the tune of about 180 million, 6.75 billion versus 6.93. Interesting when you look at, in terms of, I was reading the statistics here, when you get into the numbers. Interesting here, the number of Starbucks Rewards members who have been active in the last 90 days, probably a great indication. I'm a Starbucks Rewards member, haven't been there in a while lately. But a great rewards program. They were one of the first companies out there to have a great app that you could load money on, use it whenever you want. Increased 15%. That's a remarkable number to 21.8 million people. They're losing their COO, Roz Brewer. She'll become the new CEO at Walgreens. So that out there as well last night. Starbucks trading a little bit lower to about 102, but you put this thing on a daily, and you're talking about basically a consolidation near all-time highs on Starbucks. Pre-COVID, we were only dealing with about $90, and you're sitting above 100 today on their earnings last night. What else we have going on? We got Boeing earnings, as I talked about. Let me take this off the chart here. We're trading at 195 this morning. You see the pain they've been in, of course, during the COVID pandemic, from 350 down to 89. We're at about 195 so far this morning on Boeing. Their numbers out this morning, net loss hits a record, how about almost $12 billion. One of the big ones here might be pushing out the 777X debut to late 2023. You're talking about, that's like 36 months from right now, folks. Hit by both the 737 MAX grounding, of course, with the planes not flying. They got a conference call at 10:30 this morning. Earnings per share, a loss of $15.25. Lots of craziness happening here. It says it's immediately unclear if that's comparable to a loss of $1.80 they were looking for. Not sure if they have some different charges or what's in there. Revenue slightly above $15.3 billion versus $15.05. Fourth quarter revenue dropping 15% from a year ago. When you think about it, not too staggering in terms of only a 15% drop from a year ago, considering what's been going on in the world. But Boeing dealing with some woes, and those woes are going to continue. So we got to talk about GameStop this morning, folks, because my goodness, you want an argument for defined risk, folks? You want an argument for taking a loss, no matter how bad that loss may be? Here's an argument for you. My goodness. I mean, do you remember how out of whack things looked on Monday when the whole world was talking about GameStop trading up to a high of 159.18 before closing the day at about 75? Well, give it another day, folks. We see the run it has yesterday. You close it out at 150. Now, the interesting thing here is, right, so Melvin Capital closes out GameStop short position. I am sure that the people over at Melvin Capital, as tough as that was to close that position out, and I'm sure they have conviction that at some point the stock is going to return to a more normal environment. But as tough as that was to close out, imagine those people that closed out that trade looking at GameStop today saying, thank goodness I didn't just hold out and pray and hope, because that is not a strategy in the market. So it's this thing up to $365 at about 6 in the morning this morning. Even the run last night, we were in the Tiger's Den talking about it. You were up to $250, folks, from $150 just in the hour after trading ended at 4 p.m. yesterday. Now, the new star on the block looks to be AMC. We're up from $5 to 16, folks. You're up 220% overnight. You spiked to 18. Now, for some context here, the actions we're at $16 right now. You're not going to see that on this because the new day has not opened yet when you put it on a daily. But yeah, this is a daily going back all year, and the high is $7.78, and we're trading at $16. You back this thing up for a 5-year weekly, and you're talking about we're back to basically where we were in April of 2019. You're talking about almost 2 years ago. Do the fundamentals warrant that? No. Period. End of sentence. Doesn't mean it's not going to trade there. And as we've seen in GameStop, it does not mean that that will be the high when the market opens. Really interesting action nonetheless. We'll see how that shakes out. We're seeing a lot of craziness in this market, folks, and we are seeing a lot of arguments for defined risk because, my goodness, some of these shorts now, who is shorting a $5 stock? Okay, that's quite the gamble in its own right. But you did not expect to see $18 probably on AMC. But guess what? You better broaden what's possible in this market because there are outlier risks. There are tail risks, especially in a lot of these short stocks, in terms of what's the probability that it spikes to 18. Well, that's a tail risk, folks. But guess what? That risk is greater than 0%, and we're seeing those risks come into existence much more so than you may have imagined lately. And there's the headline on AMC, of course. Shares triple as retail investors raid of hedge fund short targets spread from GameStop. So they're out of GameStop and they're into AMC. We'll see how that reacts to GameStop. AMC currently has a 24% of its float tied up in short interest. GameStop was all the way up to 138%. So quite the divergence there. We'll see how that stretches out. All right, what else we got going on? So a big day, as I talked about, in terms of earnings. We got AT&T out with their numbers, of course. Not of course, but out with their numbers. Beat estimates on both the top and bottom lines. Greater than expected number of postpaid phone subscribers. AT&T was hit $1.35 billion lawsuit. Nonetheless, we'll jump over to AT&T shares, and you're down a bit from about $29.80 to $29.14 this morning. I'm going to scroll down a bit just because we got so much going on. We talked about Microsoft. We talked about Starbucks. We definitely talked about GameStop. Of course, you have Elon Musk out there joining the fun, talking about them online. Texas Instruments out with their numbers, $1.64 a share, 30 cents above estimates. The chip makers' revenue also above forecast. Combine that with an upbeat current quarter revenue forecast. And guess what, though, folks? TXN is their symbol. You're seeing a lot of action. I mean, look at that spike to 183. Not sure how long it was up there, but you're backing off a bit to 167.25. After the bell tonight, of course, we get Apple earnings, Tesla earnings, Facebook earnings. Interesting, you have Apple positive right now, even with the NASDAQ 100 down 105 points. No real sellers in Apple ahead of their earnings, but you see what might happen with Microsoft, right? So we're dealing with all-time highs on Microsoft going back to Monday, okay, of 145.09. You're sitting basically unchanged from last night. The reason why I bring it up is because, man, some of these stocks are just priced for perfection, folks, and you're seeing it happen in Microsoft. You're trading at 237 right now in Microsoft. You were up to 247 last night overnight, and the market just saying, yeah, of course they crushed it on earnings. I mean, we're sitting at all-time highs coming in, literally all-time highs coming into their earnings number, and it's going to be a pretty comparable scenario with Apple in terms of maybe this is a consolidation here going on since August or July. We climb above that level. I mean, just look at where we were in Apple just 8 days ago. Okay, we were trading at $127.50. You're up $16 on a $127 stock. That's what, 13%, folks, on a $2.4 trillion company. Apple has added hundreds of billions of dollars to its market cap just in the last 8 days. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after the break.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. I got a chart of the 10-year up here. We're up about 5 ticks right now at 137.16. So of all the things, right, you can't emphasize it enough how big of a day it is today. It might be the biggest day out there in terms of earnings season because you got the biggest company in the world reporting, Apple. You have one of the most heavily followed stocks out there with Tesla, Facebook as well. We just saw all the earnings in terms of Microsoft going to open this morning. We have the markets down more than 1% right now. You're looking at S&Ps down 40 points, and we have yields, which is interesting. Yields decreasing, pulling back, checking out the yields. You're looking at a 10-year of 1.016 right now. Look at these yields on the short term. How about the 5-year? 0.4%. The 2-year, basically you get your money back. How about 1/10% on a 2-year? The 30-year pushing about 1.78% right now. Chairman Powell, he will be up at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, and he'll be answering some questions, folks. Be interesting to see where this market is and what he has to say in terms of their bond buying and if or when that may taper and how he dances and tiptoes around those questions. Let's take a look at some of these FANG stocks again. So Apple shares, within a penny of the close yesterday. We see Microsoft popping a bit, right? We were down, as I was talking about, to below 236. We're now climbing to 238. This will be a real interesting one in terms of how they trade, because if Microsoft cannot hold gains after the numbers that they put up, then how is that going to happen with Apple? That's what I'm trying to wrap my brain around, because very similar in terms of price for perfection, strong technology companies capitalizing off of the trend changes in our lives to flock to online, Microsoft Teams, the cloud. Meanwhile, Microsoft up 2% when they crush it out of the park, folks, in terms of cloud, in terms of total revenue, in terms of growth, and we'll see where we open. We might catch a bid, we might not on the opening bell, but that's something to watch. And then checking in on the other two big ones, we got Tesla shares right now off a bit. You're talking about on $12, and Facebook shares off to about $2.81. Boeing shares after their earnings off a bit this morning as well. All right, folks, stay tuned. We got our man Larry Pesavento. He's coming up live next with Trade What You See. Live programming all day at TFNN. It's going to be a wild one, folks. Stay tuned. Right back.